On today's show, you guys have been flying. You guys have been soaring all over the neighborhoods, all over the skate parks. We've been loving the videos, so it's time to talk to the brothers who made the FlightFins possible. That's right, folks. Michael and Ori join me right here today, and we can't be more excited to talk to them. It was a fun one last week. It's been a fun month of shows. We're getting into our second month. That's right. And we are pumped to do this with you. So thank you for everybody on the live stream. It's time to get rocking. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Luch Dog in the morning, and this is the voice of Onewheel.
In the morning.
Welcome back, folks. It is Luch Dog in the morning, and this is the voice of Onewheel. Thank you for joining us this wonderful Tuesday morning. I know I'm excited about it. Fabouz is excited about it. From France, we've got callers from Canada last week. We've got a whole bunch of donators. We're going to be giving away a pair of FlightFins, and we'll do that with the brothers. But first, the belly, Matt LaBelle. He makes the show run. Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing real fine. Good to be here, as always.
He's just making everything happen. All right, so let's do this thing. Michael and Ori. Michael, what's up, man? Good morning, and how are you, sir?
Morning.
Dude, so glad to have you. Thank you for joining us a little bit early. I know it is LA time for you. Ori, you're in Ohio, right?
Yes, sir. Nice snowy Ohio.
Yeah.
Great place for one-wheeling right now.
I wonder, have you tried the FlightFins? See, I'm already going into question mode. I want to know how the FlightFins work in the snow. I want to know how the landings work. Like, should I be worried about the landings? Are they a little bit squirrely, or is it just smooth as butter? We're going to get into all of that. Thanks again to all of you joining on the live stream, which is on YouTube channel TTR Studios. We'll do the podcast where you can download that all on iTunes and everywhere else as soon as the show is up. Let's get going. Before we get into this, you know I like to start with story time. We're getting all into the FlightFins. I wanted to address some things that have come through from last show. Last show, obviously, we had Future Motion on. And, Billy, that was a big show. That was a fun show.
Yeah, we did a really good job. I'm glad they came on. Sure.
We did a really good job patting ourselves on the back. I thought it was a great show. And I think I've been doing this for years. Michael and Ori, you guys have been watching the show. I'm sure you've seen. You know, Mike, you're an acting coach, right?
That's right.
So you're in Hollywood, you're in the business, and I think you would probably agree that anytime you put something creative out there, you're gonna get. I think somebody put it this way: you could be the best damn chocolate chip cookie, and there's always gonna be somebody who doesn't like chocolate chip cookies.
I actually said that. Yeah,
that was you. I was looking at your profile. I mean, it's true, man. It's very true. And I've always wanted to do something that people cared about. That's been my goal. The reason that TTR, in case you guys don't know where this comes from, TTR Studios, it's To the Rescue. It's the first band name I ever had. I play all the instruments in a band. That's why I have all of this equipment, because I would record all the parts. It's like a one-man band. Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters is like my goddamn hero, because that's what he did on the Foo Fighters album. It was just him in the studio.
Ori's a rocker.
Ori, what do you play, man?
I play guitar and I sing. I got the guitar set up right here. We actually just played a show last Friday out at Snow Trails.
Hell yeah!
The ski resort out here.
Plug your band, man.
I'm sorry?
Plug your band. Who do you play with?
Okay, Oddepoxy. Oddepoxy's the band. ODDEPOXY. We just came out with a ridiculous music video. It's called Algebra. If you want to check it out on YouTube, it's there.
Yeah.
I wear short shorts with the pockets hanging out. It's pretty magical.
I was gonna say, I'm more of a geometry guy. I like geometry myself.
Yes.
No, that's awesome, dude. I was a geometry teacher. I love algebra, and I love rockers. So you shred not only on the one wheel, but also on stage. And so you guys get it.
Yeah.
You've played these creative. TTR comes from. I wanted to make a song that, if I made one song that people liked and it like kind of helped get through a tough time, I was down with that. That was my thing. That was my whole goal. And so there comes To the Rescue. That was the name of the band. And then, I mean, it's right there. That's what it is. If you can see on the live stream, To the Rescue. That's where all this comes from. And I just, it's funny because finally we've come up with something that really I think a lot of people are starting to care about. There was like, you know, over 1,000 downloads for last week's show. And Belly, here's the difference. Once you start getting to the point where people care about it, they care about it in both ways. They don't just love it.
Well, of course they love it. They want to make it the best show there is in the world.
But
we appreciate that.
Yes, that's a very nice way of putting it. Some of the things that came in really threw me for a loop because just no problem. Just not bashing, but really just frustrations on not making the show personal to you. So I just wanted to take a second to put the expectations out on what this show is and what it isn't. This has never been an interview show. I think people are trying to see this as an interview. I don't want to interview Michael and Ori. I want this to be feeling like you're at the bar with your buddies and people actually get to be a fly on the wall watching. And you get to participate every now and then through the Float Life social media lounge or the Magic Robots call-in line.
Which are both rolling right now.
Oh, fantastic. But they're not an interview. And I am not going to just sit up here and boringly depose a new person or two people every week. That's not what this show is going to be. And so while I apologize for some people not getting their questions answered, I had like 300 questions for Future Motions that you guys put in there last week. And I'm sorry if you thought that I was moving a little quickly through them to try to get to the end of, to cut people off. Guys, I wanted to get to as many questions as it was. That's really the truth. And that's all it is. So while I appreciate,
let me tell you, we got a lot of comments saying we didn't get to enough questions.
There you go. So, and there it is. So as I'm not trying to waste time here. I want you to understand the reason I was doing that was to get as much in as possible. I'm glad you guys care enough even to make a negative comment. I do.
And from the social media lounge, nothing good has no haters.
There you go. There you go. They hate us because they ain't us. Or Critty's going neg, which is my favorite. So let's get into this thing. I can't wait. Michael and Ori, let's do this. Give me the origin story. How did you get to the FlightFins? And for anybody who doesn't know, what is the FlightFins? What are they?
The story is basically that the beginnings of it are pretty kind of crazy, actually. Is my father had a heart attack, and he lives in Ohio, where Ori lives. And I went there to be with him because he, basically died, came back to life. And just so happened, I thought, well, I maybe I'll bring my Onewheels. I ended up bringing them. It was kind of a fluke. I almost didn't bring them. I thought, I don't want a big hassle at the airport. But I brought them, and I spent some time with my dad, and also spent some time with Ori. And initially, in the first couple of days, I told him that I had this idea to put a block of wood or something for leverage on the fender in order to get up curbs easier, to nudge curbs easier. And so, we kind of sat down and thought about that, and then we took like just a piece of wood and put it on the back of the fender, and it actually worked pretty well. And then we started to shave that piece of wood, and then from there, we thought, well, why don't we put one on the other side, and that way you can nudge on both sides, and then there was a moment where we both just kind of looked at each other and said, gosh, I wonder if you could jump in the air with these pieces of wood, and so I just turned the camera on slow-mo, and Ori, jumped on the board and jumped like 1.5 feet in the air, and we were both just like giggly little kids,
like 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like you're like 10-year-olds.
It was a true golden moment when that first. I can still remember it. Like it was at night when we got that first jump on film, and at first, like, it jumped, and we're like, oh, okay, that felt pretty good. And then we reviewed the footage and watched it in slow-mo. We were both just like, it's real. Like, you can actually jump a Onewheel. It was such a mind-blowing experience because, especially for me, because, anything that I ride or whatever, I always want to jump it. Like, I have to jump it. So the fact that was even a possibility.
No, that's what I was going to say, guys. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, we always want to jump it no matter what it's on. how do I get this thing in the air? Now, Belly's showing what looks like, is this the first one? Is this a wood piece? Belly, what is this?
Yeah, so that was the first one that the initial setup was just 2 blocks of wood attached to it was purely just to see if you could lift a 20-some pound Onewheel into the air.
How
and then
how did
after
you make that though? I mean, how did you make that? I mean, that looked like you sawed that off. It almost looks like with wood.
Yep. It took a huge 4x4, basically block
Wow.
wood, and then just pushed it into a belt sander until, and I sort of drew it up and had it in my mind what I kind of the shape, and we sort of tweaked it. We talked. We're like, yeah, it probably needs to have some angles in there, and I always kind of like designing kind of more natural shapes. So I just kind of ground it down until we saw kind of what we wanted, and something that would hopefully be comfortable, and then attach those to the board. And it was and after that it was sort of just from there.
Ori, do you have a design degree? Like how? Like I guess Michael, is he the one that does the designs? Like how do you guys do that? What's that division there?
Well, he's kind of like the Wozniak here. But it was a thing where basically it was super uncomfortable in the beginning. I couldn't even do it without my foot, hurting. And so really it was all the different steps that we went through were all about comfort. And, we realized that the fins, with a little bit of bendability, had more comfort, more pop at the top of the jump. And we just, we started working with a guy out here in Los Angeles, and, going with him, we went through like maybe 5 prototypes, and it was all really just about like tweaking here and there, putting my foot back on the fins again, deciding, okay, this needs to come off, this needs to be shaved more. And, we just went through that for like, maybe 3 or so months. And then we had to deal with injection molding, which is a whole nother bag of worms. There's so many rules, it has to be, in order for it to pop out of the mold and not shrink or have issues with bubbling or anything like that.
Can you tell me just what injection molding is? Can you just tell us what that? There's got to be somebody out there like me listening. This is over my head.
It's a mold. From what I understand, basically, it's a mold that is basically just like this, and there's a hole, and it shoots the rubber into this mold, and then the mold somehow pops open and pops these parts out. And so, you can't, and a lot of people don't, I don't think even know this, if you look at the fin, if you look at the back of the fin, you'll see little slits in the fin. Those actually have to be there. If those aren't there, it will not dry properly, and you'll have shrinking. The fin will collapse. So there was a lot that we had to go through to basically negotiate with this big injection molding company to make this happen. So because there were times when they said, we don't know if we can make this happen, and then we just kept going back and forth.
So, what's the look on your face when you get this thing first made and you're trying it out? You did the first jump. Did you immediately know that you had? These things are selling off the shelves. So, obviously,
that's what. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
That first video that we put online, that the sort of teaser that came up, that was shot. It was basically the day after we finished them, and Michael was going to leave. It was the day he was leaving. We had to take him to the airport in basically an hour, and so we're like, well, if we can get some footage of this really quick, then we could probably make a video and post it online and maybe get some response. So we went to downtown Mansfield, and I hopped on the board, and actually it was kind of that was one of our first like big letdowns, because I started jumping and the board kept shutting off, and I was like, like something's wrong, like we messed something up, but really it was just a learning process, because I think a lot of people when they first start trying the fins, they have that issue of the board either nose diving or this or that, but it really have to lean back more so than you would expect to keep the wheel engaged. which that was just something that I had to learn. I didn't really realize until, I played with it for maybe 20 minutes, and then I was like, oh, okay, okay, this is starting to work again. And then over the next charge, which was about, 45 minutes to an hour, we just, Michael was just like, jump that curve. Let's do something here. Like, this is a cool setting. And we just tried to get as much as possible. And the fact that it was now consistently working, we're like, people are going to, because this was something that people had wanted for a while. People have wanted to jump a Onewheel, myself included. So I think when we first got those first clips, it was that was when we were like, yep, this is a thing. This is a thing now.
Let's go to the Float Life social media lounge. Float Life, creator of float plates, float sidekicks, and other rad gear for your Onewheel. Check them out at thefloat.life. What do we got?
So from Ryan Hayford, it's craft. Do you prefer a craft and ride fender or a stock Future Motion fender? And are there concerns about stripping from the rails? He just got his FlightFins and he's ready to fly. I'm
sure people saw McManus's post yesterday. I know obviously people are. I mean, that was just like a. If you don't know what we're talking about, like it looked like it's stripped. That's a very good question. What fender works best with this? We do have a reveal for you guys. Considering talking about a fender, we'll do that a little bit later. We have a little surprise, so thank you for the texters for saying that. What's the best fender to use with these things?
I think I'm good to answer that. I think that Craft and Ride and the original Future Motion, well, the current Future Motion fender are both equally great. The thing about the Craft and Ride fender is, the bolts will go a little bit farther in. You have a lot more space from the wheel to the actual fender itself. So you can put those bolts in a little bit longer. You don't want to put them in too far. You want to be careful not to put them through the actual fin itself. But we did actually intend it for the Future Motion fender. So we built it so that it goes to the end of the nut exactly. And we actually had to do that because there's no room in that fender. No room at all. I mean, we had to go with a really flat hex nut, and we had to look around to find the perfect thing. I can actually show you. I have a fender here. I have a Craft and Ride fender here.
Oh, sweet.
Show you. I don't know if you can see that, but basically, you can see I've basically mounted it about a 1/2 inch. From the bottom of the actual fender here. And usually the fin will mount very close to the actual fender lines here. Sometimes people mount them slightly over the fender line. Can
you turn it? Can we see a profile of that? Maybe like from the side view? Yeah, just like that would be great. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that helps, but
that's beautiful.
Basically, and there's different variations of that. Some people, want to put the fins on slightly sideways. That feels best for them. Some people want to, put them closer to their foot. They want a snugger fit, and you can move them around. Honestly, we've found that you can you can put holes next to holes. Typically, we haven't had any problem with that.
So let's talk placement. What is the ideal placement for these then, if that's the case? I think Richardson was putting out some different placements. What do you guys recommend? I mean, let's hear it from the horse's mouth if that's all right with you guys.
That's what we recommend, about a 1/2 inch from the actual foot plate here.
Now you're talking.
Here's an example of another one. This is an actual Future Motion fender. You can see where that is. And then if you look to the side, you can kind of see that it's basically just a little bit over that line.
He's right.
That line on the fender here. And some people want to go a little bit over, like Chris Richardson, he went way over. Obviously you need it enough to put that bolt in the fender, and you don't want it on the bend.
Right. So anybody listening on the podcast, he went a little higher up the fender, and what they're saying is about a 1/2 inch from the foot plate, right up that fender, right? About 1/2 inch from the bottom of the foot plate. But I'm wondering, like, forwards or backwards? Like, do you want it on your toe more, or do you want it right in the middle there? That's my question.
And I think And you'll sort of, I think really the most telling thing for me is that the sort of the top side of the fin, the part that would be close to your ankle, that little nub, that the base to that top section is really great for using as a control, for really carving into curves. But it also can dig into your ankle if you have it too close to your ankle. So I think it's balancing, is I think as long as that's sort of away from your ankle, I think that's, and you'll feel it. You'll be able to, when you're putting it over your foot, you'll sort of see where it is, which I think that's the best thing to sort of, when your foot is on the Onewheel, to just kind of move it around and obviously it's kind of hard to imagine, but I think that's the biggest thing, to keep in mind that, that top side of the fin, it will help you, but it can also hurt you.
So I'm guessing because people probably don't want to just go and drill, infinite holes into their fenders before finding the right positioning. Is it safe to say that maybe I could just take it in my hand and just bring my foot up to my hand and put it around on my foot and kind of get a feel for where I would want it on my feet? And then base that on
the instruction manual. It's pretty clear in the instruction manual. We tried to make that as clear as possible. So that people would really not have any questions about that. And I think we did a pretty good job with that. But I do want to go back to the question that was asked a little bit and just say that, with the test that we had, I mean, Bodie was literally getting, at times 3 feet of air coming down on these fenders. We used a Craft and Ride. Both of these guys switched out from Craft and Ride and Future Motion fenders. And by the way, that was, a newer Future Motion fender. The older Future Motion fenders are extremely brittle and thin. Those, I don't think those fenders would even be good.
Did they do an upgrade, Mike? Are their fenders a little bit stronger now? Because we're showing Bodie do this, and I mean, we love you, Bodie. Shout out to my man. He's the initial guest on this show, and
Bodie.
Look at all this stuff he's doing. If you're looking on the podcast or you're listening to the podcast, we're just showing the video. Just Google FlightFins and initial test ride. I mean, he's flying through the air. He's literally doing gap jumps. That's absurd. Oh my goodness. I mean, you guys must have been giggling when you watched this.
True animal.
Yeah. It was insane what these guys did. And I do want to officially, before I forget, I want to officially thank Bodie and Ori for just amazing footage for that initial video that we put out for Indiegogo, and also just everybody that supported us, the community. Yes. I just love these people. I'm somebody who's a very private person, and I have just been, I've been changed by the way people are supportive and the way the communities come together and the rides that we have. So there's sometimes 20 plus people out here in Los Angeles. I mean, it's just been incredible. And I really want to thank everyone that supported in any way. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody is saying the same to you. Thank you for letting us fly, because my idea sucked. Listen, guys, I wanted to do this so bad. I wanted to fly. Belly, I started jumping, and I wanted to be able to connect it to my feet somehow, because I'm not a skateboarder. I'm a snowboarder. I'm used to bindings. So my idea was, and I think some people might have even tried this, is I wanted to drill ropes, cut a jump rope in half, basically, drill a rope into the front and the back of my board, and have handles so that I could pull up and have it connect to me. And then all of a sudden these guys come out and I'm like, oh, so that's how we're going to do it. Way better.
Yeah, and that was the biggest, because I've always, it's either skateboarding, which has no bindings, obviously, and snowboarding that does have bindings, and anything in between is a little bit bizarre to sort of work with. So we had to try and think about, what was the safest option too, and sort of mediate between control and also, when people want to come out of the board, they want to come out of the board. It's a 27-pound electric machine that could just run away, and if you're attached to it, that's terrible.
Right.
It's you certainly want to be able to jump off when you can. So we wanted to design a shape that allowed your foot to, and in fact, if you try to push, lift your foot, the fin will, starting at the ankle, it'll basically push your foot out and away. which is great for getting, because that one wheel is heavy.
I would very much like to talk about that. How safe am I getting out of it? And for somebody like, the reason I didn't think my jump rope idea would work is because I didn't want to always have the ropes in my hand. I think the best thing about the Onewheel is that our hands are free. We're not a boosted board or some other board like Leaf Tech or whatever with something in our hands. I don't want that. What can you say to somebody like me who's going to want to do the stuff that we all saw Bodie doing, because I can totally do all that, and but I'd like to try. I would like to try, but I don't want to do it all the time, because you guys know me. I'm a grass cruiser. I will go and find any grass. Max Thompson, shout out to you, sir. What up? I will find any grass. He knows me. Anywhere I can go, and I ride really wide, so maybe I don't want to be encumbered by these things at all times. I just want to use them when I want them. Is that possible, or are they always going to kind of feel like they're in my way?
Well, yeah, I mean, go ahead, Michael. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'll tell you this. 2 years ago, I made a comment on the forums that I saw recently that basically said, hey, jumping curbs, nudging curbs, all that stuff, that's all for like young guys. I'm never going to do that. Cut to 2 years later, with all this stuff and me coming up with this product with Ori. I mean, it's just crazy. I'm now doing jump 180s. I'm nudging up curbs easily. I'm jumping up curbs. I'm doing things that I never thought I would ever do. Honestly, I started doing them on playground material. I started doing them in grass, and just getting used to it, and then feeling more comfortable and moving from that, on. But I feel totally comfortable. I've never hurt myself using fins. I've always just fallen right out. For me, when I'm doing some kind of trick or anything like that, I'm always thinking, well, there's a possibility that the trick won't land, and I'm ready to run it out, step off the board. I'm not going that fast.
And you can skip leg day at the gym. So, I mean, we're all just, life is good.
And I'm almost 50. So, for me, I have a business to run and that's completely separate from FlightFins, and I don't want to get hurt. And so for me, it's, the savior has been like just nudging up curbs so easily now, and all that stuff. That's what I build it for. I mean, that's what I wanted a handle to nudge up curbs, and that's what we started out with. And that's still the thing that I most enjoy.
Tell them 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Or if we lost the stream or something.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Where did my coffee go? Hang on.
Oh,
I'm going to track that down real quick.
Okay. Technical difficulties. Go at 'em.
Ow, ow.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good, dude.
I hope that's saved. I can get...
You can recapture the
not.
YouTube.
Huh?
Yeah, you can recapture the YouTube, but... Not good. Was it just died from battery?
I saw the other white plug. Save. Oh my god, I saved it.
I know how it goes, fellas. No worries.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we're still streaming.
We'll wait. We have all day, right, Ori?
Yes, sir. All I got to do today is ship out FlightFins.
Already 11:30. Jesus,
Yeah, well. I wish we had ended it before the fucking...
Oh my god. Awesome. 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 Okay. That's great.
All right. Let's...
Dude, my computer's at 0.
We're back on?
Are we live?
Turn it on.
It's plugged in. It's doing stuff.
But we can't run sound without your computer.
We're okay.
We're good? You getting it back up?
You ready?
All right.
Check, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2.
Yep, you're going to stream
Oh
that.
shit, hold on.
You're going to stream that. And Anything you're about to do is going to stream.
Oh, okay.
I haven't stopped streaming.
Thank you. I probably did. Why is this not on? All right, well, I'm at 1%, so we're building. That's good. I got a great joke to save this. Good. 3 seconds.
Be right back.
Tell 'em 5 seconds.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Great.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh boy, are we streaming?
Yes.
Okay, well that's for everybody who always says, why do you worry about time limits? The network just cut us off, okay? That's exactly what happened. We got cut off by the network. I run up on it. I am terribly, terribly sorry. That's absolutely amateur hour, and I will pay a $5 fine for that because, you know what? Go to the donators page. I'm putting $20 in just for how bad that was.
Yeah, you
That
really
was
need
bad.
that.
My computer died. I'm looking at. Usually, I have a checklist of things I do, and
Oh,
it
no.
the main hub computer just died. So I apologize, everybody, for wasting your time. That will not happen again, and I will now donate $20 to the Float Life Fund. Don't worry, we will give away our pair of Float Life fins in just a few minutes here. God, I'm sorry. That's amateur hour. That's brutal. All right.
It's all good.
Woo! So anyway, all right, let's get back to it. And guys, where are we with you guys? I want to know, what if I am who's the Shark Tank guy? It's good with the flight fins. The Shark Tank guy, Mr. Wonderful? Is that his name?
I don't know his name.
You know who I'm talking about, the blonde guy who's just an ass.
I have something to admit. I'm the only person in the world that doesn't watch Shark Tank.
Have you ever seen Shark Tank?
Not a
Yeah, Mr.
single
Wonderful
episode.
is the one that's pretty harsh at the time.
Mr.
Or you can
Wonderful.
go with Simon Cowell. We can do the Simon Cowell reference.
Yeah, that one too. Well, Mr. Wonderful always asks, guys, why can't I just go and make these? Like, do you own? Is this something that you have any protection on? Like, do you own this? Like, is there a patent out there? Like, how does this work?
Patented? Yes, sir. They are patented and made in the USA. However, if you want to take a 2x, like we were talking about, like you can put a 2x4 on your one wheel, but God save your feet, man. It's
Yeah.
there's a reason we went with rubber, and we put the time and effort into making this shape the most comfortable and safe thing possible. Because again, one wheels are huge, so we tried to make the best product we could. Again, yeah, I think it's. I hope we've done that anyway.
Love it. That's a good answer. I mean, because I think there's probably going to this is going to become, I'm sure, just like any of these accessories. Once there's a good idea out there, if it's good, it becomes the idea, and so that's really cool. I want to say thank you again. I'm rattled. I want to say thank you to the call. Let's go to the Magic Robots call-in line and give away just $10 right now, just for free. Let's just give somebody lunch. Let's just give somebody lunch. I feel awful. I want to go to the Magic Robots call-in line.
Let's make it 15 today.
15? All right, fine. They can go to Bonchon.
Your punishment is an extra $5 to give away for lunch.
And 20 to the Float Life. I'm just going to pay for my mistakes. So let's go to the Magic
fines
Robots.
are out.
Magic Robots call-in line, because a phone call without Magic Robots is just a can on a string. Call us right now, 571-354-7338, and I will give you $15 PayPal to your account. You do not have to donate it like Schwantez did, but shout out to that dude who did and fed a kid
Very
for
nice.
a month. That was awesome. Pay it forward award to you, sir. 571-354-7338. Call in right now, and we will buy you lunch. $15 PayPal. Again, 571-354-7338 to the Magic Robots call-in line. While we wait for a call, I got the guys here from FlightFins. They are very excited to be here with you guys, and I'm just glad to have them, so I don't want to waste their time with some...
Thanks for having us so much, man.
Yeah.
This is a blast. The whole thing has just been, like Michael was saying earlier, the community is amazing. Everyone that we've met from the community has just been so open and just receptive and really helpful to whatever we've been trying to do. So, and that's, another reason where we're so happy to make this is because, I want to see people have fun, extra fun. And ever since that, we've been riding with the fins, we both agree that it's like, I could never go to riding without them at this point. There's so much fun. There's so much more you can do with the Onewheel. So yeah, again, thank you to you and everyone else in the Onewheel community, because it's awesome. So good.
You are more than welcome, man. I'm just glad you guys are all making the time to do this. And I was going to say, I don't want to waste your time with basic questions. I was just trying to filibuster while the phone call came in. It is here. Let's get to talk to somebody. Special guest, caller. Who are you? Where are you from? And congratulations for winning on the Voice of Onewheel. Hello.
Hey, this is Sean. How you doing?
Sean Swantes.
Sean Swantes. What's up, dude? Oh, no way.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to watch it on my iPad and talk. I was seeing if that would work, but
no, that's not going to work. There's too much of a delay. I would just have the conversation on the phone, but then you can go back and watch it on the live stream. But what's up, dude?
Nah, that's cool, man.
Thanks for joining us. What do you got for me? Congratulations, obviously. You know what you're doing with these things.
Yeah. So I don't want to take that lunch away from somebody else again. If I could, I'll donate that to Lance Caston for his birthday today.
Wow, donated to
and then
Lance
just a big
Caston.
shout out to the FlightFins guys. I've been having a blast riding those.
Okay, well,
Thanks, man.
Tell us your experience so far while I have them on. I'm sure they can hear you, but you can't hear them. I'll give them a chance to respond when we hang up. But can you tell us your experience from having the FlightFins and what you thought so far? Your initial thoughts?
Oh man, since day one they've been awesome. You saw my videos.
I sure have.
It took me about 15 minutes to get them on, was jumping some blocks, and 3 days later I'm clearing 14.5 inches and getting some air on some ramps. They've been a blast. It's an awesome product. I mean, I can't say enough about them.
I mean, he's jumping mulch bags, Belly. I mean, it's pretty impressive to see this guy do his thing, and I appreciate you put those Olympic videos out there. Very nicely done. Schwantez, I don't know if you guys know, he donated it and fed a kid for a month, so that was awesome. Now I'm going to ask him a silly question because Belly's going to get mad at me, but I'm just going to have some fun today now. Schwantez, I'm going to ask the brothers this. So, brothers, get your answers ready. I'm basically giving you a warm-up by hearing what I say to the caller. Sean Schwantez, I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you're in a relationship and nude pictures have been sent, Belly's so upset, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm sorry, Belly, it's happening. Sean, if you are in a relationship and things are going well, and one of you sends, can you hear us? Is he there? Yeah. One of us sends naked pictures to, the other person, and we're happy, but then we break up, Sean, and I am asking you, is the person who has those pictures, even though you broke up amicably and nicely, now I have those pictures on my phone, am I expected to delete them?
Probably not.
I think that's fair to say, that some people would say, as Belly is, if we could get him on camera, he is just so uncomfortable right now. Some people would make the argument, Belly, that I'm allowed to keep those pictures as long as I'm not going to do anything with them. It was a gift. Sean, am I right?
Yeah, I wouldn't go posting them and sharing them with others, but yeah, you can keep them.
Schmontez for the win. Thank you, sir, for putting up with my antics. I appreciate you. And Lance Caston, happy birthday. We'll get him in now. We have another call in. Belly, do your thing. Guys, I want your answers. What's the deal? Do I have to give up that picture? Do I have to delete it?
Those are memories. Those are precious memories.
They should actually be printed out and scrapbooked. Actually.
Yeah.
Put into the official one.
Those are special memories.
And I understand. Listen, ladies, I'm not trying to say, and this could go both ways. You got another one? Put them on. That's fine. The calls are lighting up now. That's what happens. But what the thing is that I'm not, and this is not just a guy having a picture and the girl gave, maybe some other guy, caller, hold on, we got you on the line. We'll get to you in a second. I appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's guy or girl. I just think it's an interesting dichotomy. Caller, what do you got for us? What's going on? Phone caller, where are you? Who are you? Where are you from?
Yo, what's up? This is Andrew Stro in Chicago.
Stro, what's happening, man? What do you, I saw that. You want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. I heard the whole photo thing. I was like, I need to weigh in here. So my thought is, if you broke up amicably, right, and you both are are on good terms at that point, or that you're okay with people. Do not put them on the internet, man. Do not put them on the internet.
Of
I
course,
think
that
that's
goes
wrong.
without saying. This is somebody who is trusted by the other person. They know you're not going to do anything with it. It's going to stay in a hidden file, in a hidden folder, in a hidden place in your phone.
Yep. Or you delete them all together to help get over the relationship.
Andrew Stroh for the win, and I told you, Belly, I'm all thrown now. But Stroh, I just ordered a Rad Mini, dude. I saw you riding one with Van Larson at the Float Life Fest video, so I got a Rad Mini on the way. Should I be excited?
Oh, yeah. Be very excited. I just love the idea that you can regen the Onewheel while you ride, which is just epic. I do it on, like, buses and stuff here in the city, but with a Rad Mini, and you have a good friend, you could probably go for 10-plus miles on the current Plus just by kind of utilizing that regen when you can and having fun hitting all the spots on the way.
Andrew Stroh, thank you for joining us. He will be our next host a guest host on The Voice of Onewheel. So, Stroh, I hope you're ready for next week. I was going to drop that at the end, but can we just say it now?
Hey, that sounds awesome. And I have an updated kind of list of stuff, ideas to talk about. So look forward to it, man.
Okay, giddy up. Andrew Stroh, thank you, sir. We appreciate you, the speedster himself. Guys, I'm sorry I got off of FlightFins for a second, but
yeah, that's okay. You can always get back on.
Man, that was a lot of fun. Belly's so mad.
You can always get back. I am so mad at you.
He hates the inside joke there.
Stand.
On our morning show, Luch Dog in the Morning on Wednesdays and Fridays. That's something that I ask every single person that comes on the show as a guest, because you get a different answer from everybody.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And he hates it. He hates when I do it. It makes him so uncomfortable. So, guys, I want to know how has the Onewheel changed your guys' life? Obviously, you were jumpers. You've created the FlightFins. You've done something amazing for the community. But before that even came out, how is this? If you were telling somebody that's a friend that thinks you're crazy because you spent $1,500 on this thing, how would you sell it to them? Why has it changed your life?
Go for it, Michael.
Yeah, for me, like I said earlier, I was a very private person. I've always been like that. And 3 years ago, I was one of the early adopters for the initial Kickstarter. I got aboard. I got lucky and got aboard that somebody was selling that, just decided they didn't want it from the Kickstarter campaign. And the way that I got word of that was that 3 of my students were in a movie together, and ironically, and one of them posted a picture because Onewheel went to the set to get publicity for Onewheel, and they let these guys ride the Onewheel around. And so I saw that video and I flipped out, and I was like, I gotta have that thing. And I thought, well, it's kind of expensive, but then when I got it, I was like, wow, this thing is a life changer for me in terms of just kind of getting me out. I mean, my kid is 6. Initially he would ride his little crazy cart, which is this electric cart, and I would ride my Onewheel, and we got to spend so much quality time together and just be out together. And then he started riding the Onewheel when he was 5. And then we started this group that met at Venice Beach, and it snowballed into this thing that was 30 people. And then that turned into Float Kings, LA, which, we go on rides once a month and other times too. So really it was just really about the community for me, and kind of getting myself out there, and also taking risk, and being less safe in my life, and especially with FlightFins now, I'm doing little tricks and stuff. I wear full pads, but I try these things, and I mean the jump roping, I jump roped, which was super silly, but we're gonna do actually a contest at some point to see how many rotations someone can get.
But Mike, did you ever nudge and curb nudge? I hope I didn't miss this while you were just saying. Did you ever curb nudge before the FlightFins, or is that something that you did only once you got them?
I did, but it's like I could only land a nudge probably 1 in maybe 3 times. So and I needed a fender. I needed to like push my foot up against the fender and jam it to get up that curb. And now it's just like you can go super slow, just lift that back foot and kind of just push your body forward a little bit, and you just go straight up. Even a foot curb or more.
Ori, how about you? What about you? I mean, I know you shred on the guitar, but how has this made you a shredder on the streets, bud?
Yeah, well, when Michael was first showing me them, I was like, this thing, it's amazing that it can go, so fast. But and again, for me, it was, all about, I certainly loved I was like, this thing it's cool, it's fast, but I want to jump it. That was sort of it for me. And so when that was finally a reality, but probably the way that it's changed my life the most is that with FlightFins now, this is probably the biggest undertaking thing that I've ever done. Plus, I'm doing it with my brother, so it's been a huge growing experience for the both of us too. We went from we'd call each other every couple months, every month, something like that. It was pretty casual, but now it's like we'd be calling each other every day. We're like talking about FlightFins, just going nuts, and it's just brought us, just really, his brothers brought us so much closer. So that was huge for me. I love that aspect of it. I've been learning things that I would have no reason to learn before, but I love it. All manufacturing stuff. I bought a 3D printer, just for FlightFins because I needed to prototype things. I needed to. And now it's just been a snowball effect of creation where now that I realize I have something that can just pump out anything I can come up with, it's really exciting. So Onewheels have fully changed my life.
And the Flight Fender is the next thing, Adam.
Yeah.
Are we ready to do it? Let's do the reveal before we give it away.
Right.
I love it. Great transition from my man from Hollywood. Let's do the reveal of the Flight Fender. We have one to show you, actually. So podcasters, if you'd like to see this, just head over to YouTube and check out the channel TTR Studios. Ori is holding up the first official Flight Fender, it looks like. They've actually worked this out. So tell us about it, guys. Can we go to just them? Is that possible? Okay, never mind. All right, thank you. Never mind. All right, go ahead, Ori.
Well, we were trying to figure out because a lot of people said, well, what if I don't have a fender? And we're like, I don't know. We were trying to think of all sorts of mounting solutions, and the idea that that we settled on was like, well, what if we could create a fender that was specifically for the FlightFins, that made them adjustable. And it just worked, as far as like a more aggressive sport fender, that was more specific. So I basically, I came up with this way that it'll utilize both the bolts. It'll use the foot pad bolts and the fender bolts, which adds some stability there. And then also, if you can see the hole right here. There's 3 of those in the fender, so you can flip the fin either way.
Oh, wow.
Adjust up and down. Which another nice thing is we don't need 2 separate molds for this. It would just require 1 mold, and then it would just produce both sides basically.
Sure. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
And so far in all my tests, it's perfectly roll proof. I developed it to be when it rolls, it won't hit on any part of the fender. With the fin on, it will hit this top part there, but it being rubber, it's basically like hitting the tire.
I just said to Belly, I want that. I want that right now. That's what I want. That's what I have been, because I'm telling you right now, guys, you just sold me. I don't want your FlightFins, and I don't say that because I don't like them. I think they're amazing, but I don't want a fender. I just don't want a fender. I don't like riding with a fender. Bodie, I'm sorry. I know you think I'm crazy. A lot of people out there are going, you idiot. But I'm telling you, there's some people there who are saying, I agree, Luch. Thank you very much. I don't want a fender, but I kind of want FlightFins so bad. That I would buy. When you roll, it won't break. Oh, man. I'm down.
Designed a notch in there for the actual zip ties.
Wow.
So it has double protection. So you've got the actual the fender is actually in 2 bolts, and then there's a place for a zip tie. So that's all built in, which is cool.
And if you're listening on the podcast, it's just like the Lance. Lance is getting a lot of love here on his birthday today, but it's just like Lance Caston's half fender, right? It's the top of the wheel is still showing. It's just enough of the fender right at the edges to not get you wet, but also to hold the flight fins and allow you to soar across the sky. Guys, that's fantastic. Last question for you before we do the giveaway for a free set of these badass flight fins. Tell me about the safety of these things. If I am a mother and I am worried about my son getting on this and I'm just worried and I don't know how he's going to feel, or maybe I'm just a really uptight father and I don't want my child getting on here, how safe are these things?
Oh, they're very safe.
Can you just show belly right now?
If you watch the bail video, you can see, I mean, that's, you know, it's like any board sport. There's only a certain amount of, you know, if you're skateboarding, or snowboarding, you just got to gear up. You know, if you don't want to hurt yourself, that's just what you have to do. And it's the same thing with these. You know, I've also never, you know, I've never hurt myself due to the fins. It's always, you know, something that, you know, would have happened had I been doing anything with the one wheel. You know, it's just inherent. But I think they're pretty damn safe myself.
I mean, I guess you've tested them a whole S-ton, right? I would hope.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so far, yeah.
Test. I mean, you know, test that there's probably only about 10 guys that are even willing to do the stuff that we did in test. I mean, you know, we're talking 4-foot drops. And remember, a lot of people sometimes don't understand this. You know, it's only lifting up with 26 pounds. So it doesn't matter what the rider weighs. It's just lifting up with 26 pounds. A lot of people think, oh, you know, I'm a heavy rider, I'm going to break the fender or whatever. No, it's just 26 pounds. You're lifting up. If you think about the mechanics behind it, that's just what it is. You know,
and what it does for your abs and legs is incredible.
Oh, my core is already. People have told me, like, they're noticing, like, dude, you look
like between Michael's jump roping and just general use of flight fins, like, we can create a full workout routine. I mean, we're gonna get him, I mean, in outfit. I mean,
yes.
You'll be able to jump, you'll be able to fly along with Michael.
Yes. I love it. I can't wait.
And get the abs and legs you've always wanted.
Well, let's do this. I want to give the people one more chance to ask any of the questions that they would like to do. So let's open up the Magic Robots call-in line one more time. And just, if you want to, right now is the time, 571-354-7338. Just 2 minutes. I would like, if anybody wants another chance to ask them a question of yours. I'm ideally not a customer service-y kind of question, but more of a question that you have about maybe why you might buy them or what you think about them or just anything you have. 571-354-7338. This is your last chance to call in for now and talk to the brothers, but I'm sure they'll be back on the show again. So while we open that up, again, 571-354-7338 for anything for the brothers of the Flight Fins. Is there anything that you guys would like to say to the people while I wait for a phone call, if there are any?
Just thank you. We're grateful.
Yeah. Again, you know, we've certainly had some feedback, which has been really great. You know, and part of the reason that we've taken our time with the flight fenders, we wanted to make sure that the flight fins are perfect. We want to make sure everyone's happy. And we also want to take into account different setups that people might have, so we can account for that too. So thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, and we're still a little bit ways away on producing the fender. It's gonna be a little while. We don't, we just want, we need to go through a process that we went through. The same with the fins, and make sure that we use the exact material that's the best. We, this thing is thoroughly tested, etc. So
we don't have a release date yet on the flight fender, right?
Sure. No, sir.
Okay, but we'll look out for that. Caller, you are on the line.
As I can.
As soon as Ori can get to it. Caller, you're on the line. Who are you? Where are you from? And welcome to the Voice of Onewheel.
Hey, my name's Bradley. I'm from Canada, but right now I'm road tripping around the U.S.
All right, welcome to the States, my man. What have you? First of all, can we
Thank you.
What are your impressions of the U.S. of A. so far?
Oh, I love it. I kind of want dual citizenship now, so I got to find some woman to marry.
Oh, okay, ladies. Well, I mean, I'll tell you right now where you can find the most. I can tell you where you can find the most level-headed and just the coolest women on the planet, and that is the float queens. They are the best. I don't know if any of them are single, but they are at least the coolest chicks I know. Let's just say that. What's up, man? What can we do for you today?
Well, I pre-ordered my XR. I'm the platinum tier. It'll be my first one wheel, but I met those guys, Jack and them, at Outdoor Retailer last year, and I've been obsessed with getting one. And I finally splurged and did it, and I can't wait. I've been checking all your message boards and like everything on a daily basis. And these flight fenders are so sick. All I wanted to say is I'm really excited about them. Question is, do they do a good enough job to like get dirt from flying up in your crotch and stuff as the actual fenders, or is it a little bit less because of the design?
Talking about the flight fenders,
It's less.
So go ahead. We're gonna drop you so that you can listen on the stream. Thank you, man. That's a great call. We appreciate you, and let's hear from the brothers.
Yeah, it's less. You're gonna get. It's not. You're not gonna get the full coverage of a fender. I don't know exactly what the percentage is. Probably you're gonna get about half the coverage because it is half a fender. I don't know. What do you think, Ori?
Well, yeah, we also did, when I last went out to LA, we did a couple, and granted, that was a different version of the fender. I actually brought out a version of the flight fender for us to test, and we did a couple tests where in slow-mo to see how dust reacted, and it blocks some, but there certainly is some that still gets kicked up. Same with water. It'll catch some water, but some of it does get kicked up. And that was actually part of the consideration that we had when we were designing it. Is we were thinking about if there's some sort of way that if there's a way we can include a brush that helps like catch some of the particles. But that's also going to be probably later on down the line just to see if that's something that's feasible.
You nanny poos that love your fenders, it's gonna be fine. I love the rocks in my socks. Let's go to the social media lounge. What do you got?
So I've got one.
I think it looks so much cooler with all that dust flying off the wheel. Like I'm all about it. I don't mind.
I get it. All of you fender folks, don't at me. What do you got?
So from the Float Life Media Lounge or Social Media Lounge, we've got a question here. It's how about the clearance for a 6.5 Hoosier? Is there what kind of stuff for the fenders? And adding on the flight fins, do you have advice for?
Now, if anybody's listening doesn't know what he's talking about, the 6.5 Hoosier is something that you would have to shave down a little bit because it's just too big for the rails for the stock one wheel. Talk how that might affect the flight fender.
The flight fender. I think the flight fender would be fine.
It would be fine because I actually, in moving, I adjusted basically the point of the most tension to be right between the two bolts, which actually moves it onto the foot pad. So you're actually, the stance is a slightly wider on the flight fender, which I kind of like, and I think most people will too, because it's kind of nice to have more stability the farther out you go. But also that moves it away from the wheel too. So the flight fender also has a little bit of inherent flex in it because it's only half and not the full thing, which is really nice. You're getting the flex of the fender and the flex of the fin, so I think it makes it for an overall very comfortable experience, and it moves the bolts away from the wheel. So I think now I haven't tried a Hoosier with this of that size, but I think it would probably go pretty well because the clearance is definitely there.
And again, this isn't ready for production yet. We don't even have a release date, but you just saw the first one, and I already got sold. I wasn't going to buy flight fins because I don't have a fender, and I don't want to buy a full fender, but I will do that. I will do that. How would the flight fins, I don't know if I totally stomped over the answer that they were going for or created my own, but do the flight fins affect the 6.5 Hoosier that doesn't have a flight fender? Is there anything that
affect? I can tell you that it does. There's been some people talking about it. Obviously a 6.5 Hoosier. Within a few weeks, Hoosier is coming out with a tire that I've been told. I've been actually corresponding with someone from Hoosier they're creating a tire for the one wheel that is the 6.0 with treads. So, I think that tire is going to actually become very popular. The 6.5, there has been some issues with, there not being enough room inside the wheel well. I guess somebody, turned the bolts around and was able to make it work and shave the bolts down slightly. Again, you're talking about a tire that doesn't even fit the one wheel. So, we didn't even think about it when we created everything. Although I have friends who run the 6.5, I personally run a 6.0, and I love it, a slick. So, I mean, that's as much as I know about that at this point.
Okay, we'll take it. I mean, that's what we're here for, and just keep us updated. I'm sure we can all get updates on the group pages. If you're not part of these and you're just listening to these shows on YouTube and you're thinking about a Onewheel, I just realized it's our 6th show maybe. I should probably say to the people, because not everybody belongs to the owners group or the riders group or .pro. There are a lot of Facebook groups that we all know each other from, really, because it's a really tight-knit community of like 8,000 people at this point. And if you're just somebody who's on the fence about buying a Onewheel, if there's ever anything that needs to do a tipping point for you and tip you over the edge of buying one, how cool of a community is it to be a part of? And you can find all of us basically just kind of talking about this stuff left and right. That's why we started this show, is because, my God, all of us want to talk about it. Our friends don't know about it. They kind of make fun of me whenever I talk about it. So let's all just talk about it together. And so you can search for groups on Facebook, the owners group, the riders group. There's even a crash group that I left because I didn't want to see all that blood. But I respect people who do. Let's go to the giveaways. We've been doing a donation that's trying to get money raised for the Float Life Fest 2018. And Michael and Ori are kind enough to donate here and give us a set of FlightFins to give away for you guys. So anybody who has donated, we always want to take care of you guys and say thank you. Remember, 75% of those funds are going strictly to Justin Thompson putting on the Float Life Fest 2018. And then 25% of that is going to the prizes and giveaways for this show, so that people who can't be at the Float Life Fest can still maybe reap some benefits from that. But let's do a giveaway. We've got how many donators today?
We have 36 donators eligible.
And remember, it doesn't matter what you donate. Just donating something gets you eligible for our donator giveaway every week. So head over to litmradio.com, scroll down to the donate button, and just donate whatever you want to the Float Life Fund. Let's do this. I'm done selling. We have 35. Is that what you said? I've already forgot.
36.
36. Let's do this. Random number generator. If you're watching on the live stream, 18. We're going to have to count. Oh, boy. This is going to be fun. This is intense. I'm actually pretty excited for this. So go to the top and count down 1 through 18. 18 wins. And don't screw it up, because they'll call us out for this. Belly's counting in his head. I'm not going to say numbers.
I want to yell out numbers so bad.
I know, don't you?
It looks like it's Mr. Kevin Barnett. I will double check.
Go double check it. Kevin Barnett. Holy moly. Congratulations. That's huge for you.
Yeah, it's pretty big time.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Is it him? Are we sure it's him?
I'm going to double check. I'm double checking right now. But if you want to talk to our guests here while I'm double checking and confirming, you can go ahead.
All right, that's fine with me. Look at him running the show. Fellas, I am going to get you out of here, but I don't want to do it on that song. So while we're counting and checking up for the winner, make sure Kevin Barnett is number 18, because counting is hard. Is there anything that we didn't hit today that you guys would like to cover before we get out of here?
The the events of Float Fest 18. Do you want to talk about that at all, or?
We do. We have, yes, absolutely I do. I'd like to do that before we get out of here. Why don't you tell us, you sent us a whole bunch of stuff. He's got, you tell us.
Yeah, we're going to have, for the fins, we're going to have a high jump. We're also going to do a long jump. We're going to have a foot ramp, and we're going to see how far people can jump. We're going to do a jump rope competition to see how many rotations somebody can do. And my personal favorite is the shrinking wall of death.
What? What is that?
A platform that you get on that gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and the person that can go down the furthest wins.
Kyle Taylor already won that one, I can tell you that much. That sounds like fun. You guys are going to be at Float Life Fest 2018.
And we are good on the winner.
Fantastic. So Kevin Barnett,
yeah.
I think. Good luck to you. Congratulations. We got to get out of here. God, today has been fun. I will, Kevin Barnett, get at me on Facebook. Congratulations, or get me anywhere. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram. It's just straight up at Voice of Onewheel. And go ahead and start following us there. We'll start doing some giveaways there too. Thank you again to the brothers from the FlightFins, Michael and Ori.
Thanks, Loose Dog.
You guys are the best. Thank you for joining me. And man, this has been a blast. We'll do this again next week with Andrew Stroh, the speedster himself. We'll probably talk Rad Mini for about 5 minutes since we've both ridden one. I'm excited to get mine in the mail this week, and I cannot wait to get my FlightFin fender. Once that comes out, I'll wait until however long it takes, boys. But once you do it, I'm buying one. Don't you send it. I'm buying it. I want to support this thing. I love them. All right. Let's get out of here. Belly's tired. He's like, I got to go. We got to go. Thanks for hanging out. For everybody here at TTR Studios, we will see you next week. It's Luch Dog in the morning, and this is the voice of Onewheel. See you guys.